Well, y'all ready for some sports?
Maybe.
Oh, Victor Allen's new sports. Written and produced by the bald-headed black man. His unique fan-based view of sports. Come see Victor Allen, the man the ladies have nicknamed Sexual Chocolate. Rub his head, make a wish. This is unique. You can't find it like this. It's where you get your sports, damn it. Remember to dress appropriately, jock straps, sports bras. Get ready. Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to have to change the lead in, man. The Sexual Chocolate. I've only seen 2 people over the last 9 years reference that. I don't think that's
They are 2 of the lasting people, Vic.
only 2, man.
Danielle Holland.
With who's gone.
She's still around. She's still in this world.
Gone. So now I have 1. Okay. I got 1. All right, man. Hey, look, man. I think we're changing, man. I think we're changing, Mario, because the city now is on the verge of, there's a possibility between the 3 major sports that probably within a year or so we may end up having at least a world title. Now, here's a killer. I'm not even doing the lead-in of the team that's supposed to be actually battling right now for the world title. I got to go to the spit that was heard around the league. So when I do that, I end up going, oh, that's a shame, man. Because what would you rather me talk about right now? And there's millions of baseball fans, but would you rather I lead in with the Dodgers or with the spit by Rajon Rondo, which everybody knows
You
about?
got to go with the spit.
You got to go with
You
the
got to
spit.
go with the body fluids.
Dude.
Anything that involves body fluids is going to get a reaction from the audience.
Oh, my God.
So this involves bodily fluids.
Right. Which you already know the details, right?
Well,
I'm
I
still
saw it.
You saw it. Good. So
I saw it. I
right.
was privy to this
Right.
altercation that occurred between the Lakers and the Houston Rockets.
Right.
Involving Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo. Initially started with Brandon Ingram
Right.
and James Harden.
Right. Which
And then exploded.
now, guess who gets off easy? And I say they got off easy because of the spit. Brandon. Because if the spit didn't take place, okay.
What happens when you exchange those body fluids?
Well, before I get there.
Whenever you exchange fluids.
No. This is about Brandon.
Yeah,
He sucker punched. Rajon.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
Rajon,
man.
Brandon.
Brandon sucker punched Chris Paul.
I saw that punch.
So that's man.
As a man who's been in at least my share of fights, I think you're really being generous to call that a sucker punch. It kind of looked like a pussy punch.
Mario.
I'm just saying this punch was like
okay.
This was like
yeah, I'm not doing that.
This was his punch. This was like the punch. It was like this.
I'm not doing that. I'm not looking at it that way, man. No, man.
That's I'm sorry.
No.
I looked at that punch. I was like,
no, wait a minute. No.
Oh, hit me.
Wait a minute.
Here's one, Brandon. Right there. Come on.
Now, wait a minute.
Can you do?
Wait a minute.
Oh, wow. That's a hurt. That's a hurty.
No.
Owie.
No. Because he got off. Let me tell you who gets.
He still went to throw a punch.
No.
That's the point. The fact that it was ineffective.
No. I'm backing up to a point where I said he got off easy. And he sucker punched. What he got off easy.
Because it wasn't really a sucker punch.
No, what he got off easy. Just take away the punching and the fight. Do you see the way he stepped up to the referee?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, all right. The way he got in his face is
he got in the referee's face?
I mean, when he set up there, it's like he wanted to fight him. So my whole point is the ref didn't call it a technical, so he got off already on that one. The way he approached him, I said, I can't believe you're doing it. And you think about it.
That's big. That's as big as the. I didn't see that.
He refrained.
When did that come out, man? Because they didn't put that. That wasn't out with the regular early news.
It's that because you got so caught in this.
They were showing the other stuff on the spit.
Remember when he pushed James Harden?
Yeah.
Immediately after he pushed James Harden, the ref goes and get him, and he walks in his face and starts doing all this. And I'm going, so he didn't call him call a tech. So he got off on that one already. That one right offhand. I think in any other universe in pro basketball, you're going to get a tech.
I have to go back and see that now.
So he gets that one. Now, with that being said, he also, of course, you know, the sucker punch, which I know you're getting into how he punched.
Sucker punch usually implies it's a powerful punch that staggers somebody. This was a weak punch that, like I said, I'd be like this, pulling back my hair, hit me.
See?
Oh, that's an owie.
Okay, come on, man. Come on.
That was not a sucker punch. That was a, I'm sorry.
Well, okay.
And I want to say, because I saw Kathy Griffin at Politicon, and she kept calling Trump pussy. And I said, okay, I'm not sure if it's politically correct to use this term. But if anything was a pussy punch, that was a weak,
So you're talking, see, what you're getting into is how he punched it. I'm saying.
Well, you called it a sucker punch.
Because you blindside and you come from behind.
If you
blindside
me with one of these kitty cat punches.
You know what?
Like,
man.
Ooh, who's there? Who's there hitting me on the head? Oh, Brandon Ingram.
Only reason why I'm saying because I've experienced being sucker punched, and the weight,
was a real bunch.
And the weight of it is the one that hits you the hardest versus the one that didn't hit you as soft. You end up turning around and still coming to the same conclusion. I said, oh, so you don't want to man up in front of me. Plus, there's a fight already going on. Why are you jumping in when it's not your fight? It's not his. That's the thing I'm getting at.
It started as his.
All he did is this.
I mean, it was his fight, Vic. How was it not his fight?
No. He pushed James Harden.
Okay.
The ref got in. He came up on the ref. And as he came up on the ref, they pulled him away. Hence, the Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo fiasco started. He wasn't in it.
No, to me, since the whole thing started with him, he's in all of them.
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that once he got pulled away, the physicality. I got it, but still, he was part of the other conflict. There's nothing saying that he's supposed to come in there and do that.
No, there's nothing. There's no rules saying.
I'm
just saying at that point. He is, I don't know what Marcus of Queensberry fight rules you're trying to implement. No. But as far as I know, so an argument starts between you and your boy. And one of you guys' buddies on each side then proceeds to get into an argument. To me, you started that with the first thing. That's the way I look at it.
I'm glad you do. I'm glad you look at it. He's still a sucker puncher.
He still did a pussy punch.
Right. So either way, it's a sucker or a pussy punch. They both are weak.
To get you out. First of all, it doesn't make any difference if it's like you still need to sit out some games.
Right.
Until you learn how to punch.
Right. Now, with that being said, I had to take a double take and look at the slow motion, which I have the little screen capture, a GIF on it, where I didn't really see initially the spit. And I had
they did. None of us did because they didn't show it.
And when they kept saying that that's what he claimed, they actually said, "Oh, he did." Now, with that being said, I'm going to Rajon. Is Rajon a true Laker? Because you know what happens when somebody spits.
It's hard to be a true Laker when you were a Boston Celtic.
Yeah, sure is, isn't it?
But I don't know. I don't know what a true Laker is. So I don't know.
Did he earn his Lakers stripes by doing what he did?
I don't know, because then if you say you have to earn it, I don't know what the rules are for how long.
Let's say
before you earn it.
So wait a minute. So let's just consider this.
I'm just saying none of that, as far as I know, has been laid out.
Wait a minute. You know a layout, and I'm saying. So everybody kind of knew that Rajon had this. He had this temperament. I don't mind if you bully up. I don't mind if you have to sit back and get into fists. But when you spit. I don't know any organization that says, oh, this is the organization Rajon belongs to, because spitting is considered. And I'm saying he crossed
any bodily fluids.
Right. So now here's the thing. Now, Mario, if you want to show the slow GIF, you could.
What?
Everybody's
I don't know. Is that this?
Yeah. If anybody actually gets to see it slowly, now I'm putting you in that position. You play football. All of a sudden you get sprayed. How good are you at refraining?
No, I mean that's the thing with people. That's an assault. See, first legally it's an assault. So there's a bunch of these things. So all of this is a matter of where you draw your lines.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of lines that people cross that would lead to me, some kind of a physical altercation. That's why they get in them. Right.
It is very, who
knows which of us would do better or worse.
I have no idea. And it's hard.
It's out there as a thing.
Right. It is difficult.
At least that looked like an effective response. Once again, weak-looking punches that were missing everything.
Okay.
That was what was cracking me up.
Right.
That they were weak-looking punches. It's almost like, and I got this quick commentary, an equally ineffective retort was seen during the Philadelphia Eagles game where Ertz, the tight end, got mad at somebody who hit Wentz inappropriately, so he charges the guy who flips him over. And we're like, okay, at least if you're going to respond, do something where you look effective. You know, like that's what I say about Brandon Ingram's punch.
Right.
At least throw a punch that years later when they show videos of that punch, it looks like it wasn't, thrown by someone recovered from rehab on their shoulder. Okay, all right, that's what the punch looked like to me.
Well,
the punch looked like Lonzo Ball's jump shot. Okay, that's what the punch looked like. Okay, to me.
Well,
right?
Everybody kind of agrees right now. The only sport that gives you the real, they're manning up and letting them hit, and they're going at is hockey. Outside of the boxing and MMA, which that's the whole nature of it. Hockey says, this is what we're going to do, man up. Now, of course, football is regulated so heavy, and basketball sometimes is laughable because...
Well, they're coming. They're all going to be sued. So boxing, everybody's going to be sued because medically the handwriting's on the wall.
Right.
That's why it's a controversy. The controversy is how long can you operate a business where the data is indisputable that it's unhealthy?
Right.
You got to pay people off, drag your feet, have commissions.
Right. And so when they hyped that this was a fight, one or two blows landed at best and didn't do that much. So we understand that.
It's like nobody got hurt. Is there even a bruise? Well,
I think Chris Paul going to get.
I think Chris Paul may be, but even that was not. He's leaning away. In other words, all the punches were like he's leaning away from the punch.
Right.
It's just not a punch that's going to cause a bunch of damage.
No. It's not.
Which was I'm glad I didn't need you to have damage, but
which now gets to the part where I'm going. Well, now that. And for those of you who don't know, the suspensions are already there. Of course, you got Brandon 4 games, Rajon 3 games, Chris Paul 2. They're literally saying they got off easy. I'm not going to get into that. I don't know the rules specifically.
I didn't know about the ref thing because
you had to see it.
There are certain lines
you don't.
It's already defined. You're not supposed to cross, Vic, and we know that any kind of threatening, overt action.
He got away.
That's suspension,
and that's what a lot of people is talking about. They're saying that the softness on this may be complicated by Ingram got away with doing way more in a sense, although he only had 1 game more than say Rajon or whatever. They're saying he should have been more. Now, I'm not getting into that. Here's my thing. With all that said and done. The Lakers play the Spurs tonight. So here it is. We got.
I know what I'm doing.
No, now hold on. Before you go there,
I'm watching that.
Yeah, before you go there, right now they're a collection of undefeated teams, 1 or 2 here, and then you have a collection of people who are winless or teams that's winless. OKC, Thunder, they're winless. It's a couple of Cleveland. I think they're winless. Lakers are winless. Now here's the thing: you're not going to have Rajon, who is a floor general. And you're not going to have your best rookie, or not rookie, but your best, let's say, first year of the new class of Lakers. They play the Spurs tonight.
Who's that?
Well, when I say the new class, I don't mean this year. In other words, between Lonzo, between Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram is the most productive right now.
Yeah, but he's a second.
That's what I said. They're newbies. I'm not saying first year.
Oh, okay.
Newbies. So, he's out. So my question is, tonight are they 0-3? Phoenix next, 0-4. Nuggets, which I just put a loss on that one. They're good. They're good after what they were doing with Golden State.
I think because to me it's yet to be determined, and they're growing in ways that are excellent, and that the problems that they're experiencing are all solvable to me. Like, in other words, even with the 3-point issue, I think all they have to really do is decide who's going to be taking them. And then you make a reasonable attempt with those people and you see, but they have the potential to do better than they think, even if they have LeBron take more. But I think that the Lakers are capable of beating all of them. So we have to see. San Antonio's emerging differently, which I expected. Other people are probably more surprised, but San Antonio's emerging differently.
Right.
Because I think that's the sign of Popovich. But the Lakers look good to me, Vic, with their bench.
Right.
So for me, I don't decrease my expectations a bit because Rondo. I mean, totally recognizing what you're saying. I think that the people that you have, and this is one of those instances, just like when it happens at Golden State when Curry or Thompson is out or whatever, where your people get a chance to step forward and do their thing. So theoretically, Kuzma could step forward. He could be. All of them could get better at 3-point stuff. Okay, so there's things to be done, and I don't know. What's good about this for me is I get to be a Laker fan again. So all of this is doable. So I can root for them. I can legitimately root for them and have a good time with it because I think that they can pull it off.
You would be that wonderful person that comes in the locker room and say, "Come on, folks." You would enlighten them to say, "Give us the greatest you can on the floor." You would be that person.
I would, because this is the best looking 0-2 team. In other words, this team has lost, right?
Yes.
But the way they've competed in every game
and
even the commentators were saying, "I'd be happy if I was a Laker fan."
No,
I said, "Yeah, I am happy."
Now, back to that question at hand. Best probability of a win between these three. All the same things you said apply to all of them.
But probably the best is San Antonio because they're kind of playing differently. They're playing really structured, organized. They're coming with it kind of.
Right.
But the Lakers still have more than a chance.
Okay.
So I can root for that. But if I had to say who should be favored, San Antonio should be favored. But let's put it like this. Watching the Houston Rockets, see, man, we talked about this even before the season. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've already decided the Lakers should beat them. I've already decided that. Okay, so we talked about that in the beginning. I actually expected OKC to be doing better, and I wouldn't count anything out on them. But I'm saying, in terms of the Houston Rockets, which I expect to be very competitive, as a reborn Laker fan, I'm very much looking forward to the Lakers being able to handle them.
I'll go because I always believe you're going to have these ebbs and flows, and right now they're ebbing more than flowing. So I understand. If I had to pick between the games, I'm just crossing off Denver, saying if you ain't ready for Denver, fully loaded because of how they play, I'll go with the Spurs, probably because. They're supposed to rebound. But honestly, I'm literally saying Phoenix. Only reason why I'm saying that is because maybe the style of play that they're going to play. The discipline that Popovich has tends to be like a Belichick. He says, I may not have as many talented, but I know how to scheme you.
Right.
And I believe he will know how to scheme them.
Right.
Phoenix is different. They got the new coach. They got the #1 rookie draft pick. He's good, but I'm going Phoenix is the best bet. Now, it could happen tonight, like you said, but I'm picking Phoenix.
I want to see the stuff coming up. By the way, I have to make a comment on the Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay.
I still think Markelle Fultz has an issue, a very significant issue, and at some point maybe we'll end up talking about that.
Physically or?
Emotionally,
yeah.
Emotionally, and I think that affects the other stuff. I'm rooting for him a lot. I really am rooting for Markelle.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say, this is really my comment, I really think the coach is doing a lousy job. I'm sorry.
Philly?
That's one of the coaches that, we're talking about who stands out to me right now. And I'm not saying this like someone who's been watching super close, but I keep tuning in. And they don't look like they made improvements in any of the areas in which they had issues.
Right.
And they look uncoached in certain situations. I remember last year Barkley being openly critical of the coach, saying he just was doing bad leading. Well, I'm starting to echo that because I was rooting more.
Right.
But they're making Ben Simmons and them look like, at least the way they're reporting it, it's like that. This is a team that's underperforming. It certainly doesn't seem to be better this year.
I'm going to wait till because last year was not the total year where they all got to play together as a team, total. I give them one full year, no injuries, because they were Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, Joel Embiid, all rotating injuries. So when they get that time in, I'll do the same thing you're doing.
Well, it may have those as the causes, but maybe that's it. But Vic, I'm just saying, watching them as one of the teams I was looking for. I'm just saying I was looking at the East, Philly, Boston. Okay, I'm saying Boston has the luxury of trying to figure out how to play all these great players together.
Right.
Philly looks like they need they're weaker in key areas and need people to carry the game, and I don't know that they can do that. And I don't know. It just looks like they don't even have the philosophy in place to make that adjustment. So they're not going to beat the better teams to me.
Yeah, they're going to. That's why I said I'm keep giving them time, because Ben having that first year of going, now I know how to navigate. It's the same thing. When you get that first full year, you're getting to know, and then Markelle Fultz and what they did with him, and everybody having to be able to go, let's adjust to the play and know how to read the floor. That's why I was saying when we was talking about Denver Nuggets, they said, look at the teams that have all their players back. It's just like football. He says, they know where they're going to be. They know their roles. You're defining yourselves. Boston Celtics got forced into them. They had time. They developed those. And so everybody took a step back and said, oh, they're developing their number one draft picks. I says, so they don't get evaluated the same way. Although they did come out good, but it took some. They were very good in believing in the philosophy of this new coach, which to me is like the Sean McVay of the LA Rams. Got it. I'm still going to wait because I truly believe the second half after All-Star, teams really show you their strategy, because I believe in pace. Right. That's cool, man.
So that's like is Kyrie Irving going to look good at some point this season?
When Gordon Hayward, they haven't played together yet, really.
I know. I'm just saying. These are people I'm rooting for. That's why I'm asking.
Their defense.
These are teams. I'm rooting for these players, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous about Kyrie Irving.
I think he's.
I'm a person who roots for him, Vic, and he looks like he's been affected.
He was affected with LeBron the first year with Cleveland, and it took them a good year before.
I mean, from that every injury.
Right. See, and I think I think they're going to be fine. They got so much youth.
All right. Well, I'm rooting for him. I just want you to know. I just wanted to bring up those problem areas as I look around.
Right.
Philadelphia, which doesn't look any better.
Right.
And Houston, which doesn't look better.
You got to get adjusted.
Right. Yeah, they got to. And, I'm just saying, They
lost two defensive, now I'm going to say gurus, but impact players.
Yeah, it certainly made a difference. Yes. We see. And nobody looks like they can beat Golden State.
No. Well, if I'm correct, I'm going to check this. I believe Denver, I think, beat them last night. Or they lost by one.
Does that change your opinion?
Denver, see, there's a part that they say you have to look at how they play.
Does that change your opinion?
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that there are certain style of teams that affect. Boston, when they played Golden State, just the way they play, they really make it competitive. They may not have nowhere near the same talent, but their defensive philosophy is so strong. Whereas Denver, it's not known for defense, but you can't stop them.
No, they'll be a wonderful team to go into the playoffs and then bow out.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they do.
Oh, yeah.
That's like Portland.
Yeah. Well, Portland, and can't explain what happened to Portland. We know.
They're stuck in that second tier.
Right.
We respect them.
Yeah.
They do good throughout the season.
Oh, true that.
but they're just not enough to beat the best.
No one right now is at that level of Golden State. Everybody has pushed them aside and said you can't use them as the marker because they're the only team in history to be built and perform at this level. Everybody else is just trying to get into that extra slot. So, no, I agree with you. All right, man, got to go to the second talk, man, because I'm not going to try to get into all of this because everybody already knows. We're going to sit there and deal with the NFL. And then, of course,
See, I didn't know all this insider shit. This is why I was tripping off of this.
Wait a minute. So what I would look at this, okay, because I don't want to spend a lot of time. Everybody knows this, so I don't have to explain it to a Players Coalition is established in the NFL, and it was already there. And as you can see, Reid is over there next to Malcolm Jenkins, and so they all part of the message and stuff. Henceforth, the Player Coalition represents everything the players do, not just what has happened with the Colin Kaepernick thing. So in short, Reid has pulled out of the coalition as of last year and basically said that Malcolm Jenkins, who heads as a voice and a member of this coalition, is a sellout. So the part that I was getting into, I said, what's the sellout? And I'm trying to, I haven't heard that.
I can explain it.
I mean, I understand it, but I really wish I knew more than what's just been presented.
The part that's kind of obvious is that you have a situation where here's Colin Kaepernick, and they have to deal with this issue.
Right.
So the way any company tries to deal with this, which is sort of the typical bullshit, is they find some program to say, oh, because we agree with this issue to a degree, like we think there may be a racial problem,
right,
we decided to invest in this company that's going to do a racial study.
Right. And
they're going to give us the advice, and this company is headed up by these black people. If it was a woman's issue, you get a woman to head it.
Of course.
If it's a Latino issue, you get a Latino. If it's black. So what happened was Malcolm became that organization.
Which everybody knows.
That the NFL could put their money into.
Right.
To act like they were doing something about Colin Kaepernick. So to me, you are allowing yourself to be used. You are specifically undermining. I'm with Reid. You are specifically undermining and benefiting by selling out the organization that you have tried to appear to represent. Right. So to me, the part, I just didn't know that was happening. Mm-hmm. For example, I didn't know enough about the organization, and I would wonder how much money they got. If they got they got some millions, huh? They got more than hundreds of thousands. It ain't no 200,000.
It already existed before this issue came up, right?
Well, I mean, that depends how you look at it.
The coalition already existed.
Yeah, they have. Well, it depends how you look at it. Again, you have the regular players union,
right,
which typically you could just go to them. There's political issues why they didn't just go.
Right.
The reason why they didn't just go to the players union is because the players union did not take a stand with Colin Kaepernick, as far as I remember.
Right.
So they didn't go to the players union. They were a non-player in this.
It's a contract that they have to deal with that's totally different than, say, the Players Association that's over here standing for a different reason, which, of course, you're going to have these people going like, we have to think of the bigger picture as a whole and the whole thing. And I understand whatever that means. But
I don't know what that means. That's why you have to be, what bigger picture?
wait a minute.
Bigger than who?
Wait a minute. Look. Let me just quote this. So,
it's like people talking bullshit, people can you have to ask them, what do they mean?
For the few people who don't know, which is probably 3 or 4, I'm just going to read this part, and then you can take it from there. Okay, he's a sellout. This is Reid saying this in reference to Malcolm Jenkins. Of course, you can see this is an older picture, because if you go down to the next picture while I'm reading this, you can see that time has passed because he decided to follow Mario in his hairstyle. So he's confronting Malcolm, of course, at the beginning of yesterday's game, and also, I believe, at the end. Now, he told reporters, of course, I believe Malcolm capitalized on the situation. He co-opted the movement that was started by Colin to get his organization funded. It's cowardly. Reid and Kaepernick have been side by side from the beginning in their cause. Now, Reid has been able to continue to play because he's on the Carolina Panthers. Kaepernick, again, defended his friend and former teammate, tweeting, Reid, enough said, I'm with Reid. That already tells you. Now, that already, right?
I get it.
Right.
I just didn't know that his organization was. I remember I kind of peripheral. I was back at. I do remember that the players' union did not align themselves. Therefore, they couldn't be the spokesperson.
Correct. They could.
And that made that complicated already.
Yes,
Vic.
right. Because he became this visual presence everybody was talking about in traditional broadcasting about how well he represents the voice and that he was this spokesman who supported Kaepernick and Reid and everything. So I'm not taking away that he had intent, but he had to choose, and I think they're going to say your fame or your wealth or your enrichment did not accomplish the goals that, of course, Eric, and also that Kaepernick has not benefited from. He's sitting out there without a job. You look at where you're at, and you told the line. Now, here's something that was brought up also, which, Mario, you already alluded to. Jenkins is one of the faces of the Player Coalition, which last November came close to cutting a crappy deal with the NFL that was mostly to get players to stop kneeling or demonstrating during the national anthem. At his locker today, Reid called Jenkins a sellout and a neo-colonialist. Colonist.
House nigga.
Right, so hold on now. Wait a minute.
Neo-colonialist.
Wait a minute.
New colonialist.
Right, so I'm just going, look, now, let me just say this. Does this make it better overall, or does this justify the owners saying this will weaken their movement because there's internal fighting? Whether it's ethnic-based, culturally based, professional based or not, do the owners feel that they're in a stronger position now because of the infighting?
I don't know how the owners feel. I think the owners are confused because I don't think they have any idea how this affects them. I think we have much more insight than they do, and I would be really, it would be very hard for me to make any predictions of what this means because it only means specific things to certain people.
Right.
Therefore, for example, I don't think the average white fan understands it at all, and also because it looks like any other fight in the NFL.
True.
I don't even think they really care.
No, man.
I think the owners are equally confused and are having meetings as to, they're calling in all their black friends and asking them, so what does this mean for us?
Right.
And once the black friends who come in, which would be like us, can't explain shit,
Right.
then they're going to say, well, I guess we don't do anything. And their black friends are going to say, yeah, because we don't know what it means either. So it's just like how they have a non-policy regarding the kneeling.
Right. Right.
And, so as long as they have a non-policy, okay, there you go. Because this is the way you're choosing because you're letting certain people, you shouldn't even be running on that. Why do they have to do the national anthem before every sporting event?
Let me ask you this.
Why not every concert then? Why not every, it should be like prayer.
Right, but I'm going to stay on this one point here.
Should be like prayer.
Eric Reid already has proven to some, they says, hey, look, let's go on and bring him in. He'll be all okay. Is he disrupting as much? Not from the owner's perspective. It's the internal with other players. Did this make it better for the owners to go, we can consider Colin now? Or does his actions now reinforce, no, we got to stay, excuse my language.
Same answer.
It's stay away from it. Because this is already showing us that if Colin gets in here, he's the lead dog, will he take it to another level? I would be considering it if I was the owner.
I just don't think you could consider a bunch of things, but they all involve you using your own personal imagination.
Right.
There's nothing to say this goes anywhere differently. That's why, to me, it's a in other words, I don't think this is predictive of the future.
Right.
And I don't think the past, when you look backwards, I think even if you look at the past, the way it's been going, it kind of shows you where it's going. There's no building in the movement right now. It's an ongoing movement, but it's not a movement that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but it stays as a persistent itch.
Right.
So they're going to have to deal with it like that, Vic. But I don't think the owners can, like I said, you can use whatever you want. I just don't see how this helps me in any kind of way
No.
with making a decision, with any kind of way of dealing with Kaepernick or any of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't add, it just adds to the tension, but it leaves everything sort of the same. You know the players
right.
have internal disagreements.
Right.
They have always had it from the beginning.
Right.
And so you're just seeing more.
Well, and to me, it's like politicians. All the bickering and bitching they do behind, they don't never want you to see. It's when it gets out that it does not necessarily work to their advantage. And so this, for whatever reason, I have to sit there and say, does this escalate the probability that Colin can get a position as a quarterback? Or did this say, no, it had no effect whatsoever? Or not? I'm only speculating.
I don't know, because I think he was not going to get a position anyway until they came. Okay, first of all, it's almost a debate between, did Colin go from having very little chance to no chance?
Right.
But it was still starting at very. It wasn't like from
not much.
Yeah, he went from a 2 to a 1. I
Right.
mean, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's because until they develop a policy about the whole thing, no. But I bet you this, Vic, players on the teams obviously have different opinions, even amongst the black players. We know that. We see that. They don't seem to be having public fights. I think this has everything to do, and only to do, with the fact that his organization specifically made that money. That's stepping over a line, okay? Mm-hmm. If he had a publicly, even in the locker room, said, I support this, because that's happening. Mm-hmm. People are stating where they are and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. They're kneeling or not kneeling. Mm-hmm. And a bunch of black people ain't kneeling, but they're not necessarily fighting amongst each other. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, when you get set up an organization that profits financially, no, you've stepped across a line. And that's why I think the NFL should divest from his group.
Right.
And seriously consider, like I said, making some kind of a policy to say, this is complicated by the lack of a decision.
No, I understand.
That's what's causing this to go on, is a lack of leadership.
Well, I'm going to go on to the next step. My whole thing was I wanted to try to get the Jacksonville Jaguars a quarterback because it is like rock bottom out. I mean, it's so horrid. And I won't even cover the story. And I'm going, can we at least have him considered between two quarterbacks? Jacksonville is begging for it. This is like not a lifeline. This is kind of like, come on, you guys, just throw his name as a consideration because it's so bad in Jacksonville. It's collapsed. And when I say it's collapsed, it's universal. They are going, he is
it's
worse.
Florida now, so you want to put him in Florida.
Let me go on to the next thing. I'm not trying to put him in Florida, man.
I love my family.
It's Sunshine State.
In Florida. My family is the best thing about Florida.
All right. Quickly here, because I have to hit the new two, and I'm going to roll over the next subject because I've run out of time. The World Series, congratulations to the Dodgers. I have to say this because, we haven't had a chance to talk about it. And the three things that's coming from it is the Boston Red Sox are slightly favored over L.A. That was already, they won the most games. They beat two teams that had over 100 wins. Yeah, that team is banging. The Beat L.A. chant will be in full effect. Will it affect us or not? Maybe. Clayton Kershaw redemption. I think this is more about him. I believe that since he has to go, I can't step up in the playoffs, he could actually step up. Even if the Dodgers lose, his redemption is that I pitch in the most important games. It's going to be the storyline here. They say if he doesn't deliver, there's basically no chance. My question to Mario, because I know how he feels about Boston.
Oh, yeah.
Who you going to pick to win?
Boston.
Good now, because who you picking to win?
I'm the fan of anybody playing Boston.
Right.
Most racist city I've ever experienced in my life.
Okay. From a sports perspective, you had a betting man.
Openly racist city.
Dodgers and
I don't even care what the odds are. Dodgers.
Okay, that ends that
no
one.
Boston.
No Boston. See, I can't.
Red Sox. Into the water.
But now notice this. You got to give that city props. They've been winning football.
No.
They're winning baseball.
Nothing.
And they're about to jump back into.
No.
Okay, I'm Just letting you know.
No.
Okay.
Beans and lobster. That's it.
All right. I'm going to do this next one because I do want to follow this on. I saw a wonderful program called 1968, the year that transformed the nation. And because why it's important for me to follow this is because a story that I specifically chose, and there are many of them, is, of course, the obvious one is Tommy Smith and John Carlos. And as you know, famously for the stand they took and the story behind it and the correlation that will, Colin, looking back, have the same effect. And just so you know, I'm going to just give you a teaser on this for those who probably say, yeah, I didn't watch it, and maybe I did. I got to learn something about John Carlos and then how they came to this point of having their images there at the National African American Museum. But when you see what they struggled with getting a job and what they had, everybody
totally. They ruined their career.
Ruined everything. And John Carlos' wife committed suicide because she couldn't handle the pressure. That was the part that I said, wow, it took the museum to come and recognize, here, this is showing you that, yes, what they learned is what you're doing at that moment is emotional. It is for a stand. But it's so hard to see 50 years down the road. Will you be recognized? And now they will be recognized all time. And I will give you a follow-up on the Australian who took second in the 200 meters. And what he said as he got up on the stand and what his position is, because he passed away, and I forgot his name, and I apologize. He passed away, and John Carlos and Tommy Smith served as pallbearers at his funeral. So it's a lot more. So it's called 1968. I'll be following up week by week by week and pulling bits and pieces out of it. So just want to let you know, Mario, that's it, man. I'm out on sports.
Sports.
Yeah. I like that slow roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Victor Allen's New Sports, a recurring segment of the Morning Coffee with Mario show. It's here every week, the beginning of part 2 of the show. Tune in and get that fan base unique view written and produced by the bald-headed black man. One the ladies have been writing and loving. You can see him every week. So remember to dress appropriately. Get ready. Do what you gotta do. Because it's that time.